Welcome back to London Beautiful Life, and today we're at the premiere of Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare at the Prince Charles in Leicester Square. So how did you get involved in this project?
So yeah, obviously we made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, and it went viral literally overnight, which was crazy. And then we kind of started thinking about what we wanted to do next, and one of them was going to be Peter Pan. And I just gravitated towards it as a director because it was something that I like more serious stuff. So Rhys likes more campy, fun stuff, and I like more serious. And with this like element of having children involved, it suited me more, you know, with the seriousness.
So what do you say for people that love the Disney world, and obviously you guys are completely turning it the opposite way? What is their reaction? What do you have to say regarding that?
Well, we've had lots of death threats, so that's been interesting, yeah, literally death threats. But my reaction is just, you know, we're not ruining anyone's childhood. Like, let's be real, like, your childhood exists, it's happened, you're an adult now, and these are adult movies, so if you want to experience a new version of that film, then great, but if you don't, you can go back and watch your Disney version.
It does actually look absolutely terrifying. Who thought of the concept of this? Like, was it yourself?
So yeah, it's a bit of a funny story. So initially, because I directed the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, I was going to come onto this, and I was going to be directing this one. But anyway, I started developing one part of the story, and then I got really excited because I realised there was another concept with puppets, and I'm like obsessed with puppets. So I started going on to the Pinocchio one. So I gave this over to Scott, and Scott changed everything. He wanted to take it in a completely different direction with it. So he's floating around there in the burgundy, but yeah, he's the director of this one, and he's got tonally, he's a lot more kind of serious compared to me. I like going a bit more like campy and goofy, and he made Peter Pan an absolute monster. So
So with people who are in love with Disney films, obviously you guys are turning it on its head. What's the reaction like for people that are a little bit against the horror verse in like Disney films?
Yeah, we've had like crazy reactions. It's very like Marmite, this world, and what we're doing. So when we first released Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 1, we were getting like death threats and like crazy stuff happening. It's kind of cooled down a little bit, and I don't know if you've noticed, loads of people have started doing this. Like, I've seen like 6 or 7 Mickey Mouse like horrors come out recently, and yeah, so the audience is kind of like warming up to it a bit more. And I think since our last films, so when we did Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 and now this one, we're gaining more of a kind of audience now, because they're seeing that we're kind of going for quality more. So yeah, we've been getting sort of good reviews, so people are kind of like getting excited for like the whole Puniverse world we're building.
So obviously talking about the Puniverse world, do you reckon we'll ever see in future any crossovers?
Yeah, so yeah, that's the end goal with this. So after Blood and Honey 2, in the end credits, I kind of teased on what some of the upcoming films are going to be, one of which is this one. But we've also got Bambi coming up. We've got like Pinocchio on Strung as well. So we finished that back in December, like early December. They're all going to be releasing this year. And in about 6 months' time, we're going to be filming Puniverse, Monsters Assemble, and that's where it's a big crossover. We're going to see all of these like kind of monsters grouped together, all the protagonists, so like Christopher Robin, which is Scott, the kind of lead protagonists in this, they're all kind of grouping together, and so are the monsters, and they're going to have a big kind of versus fight.
I'm really intrigued. Obviously, in the original Disney film, Hook is a bad guy, but in this, Peter Pan seems to be a bad guy. Does that mean Hook's a good guy?
I would say Hook is kind of an anti-hero in this film. It's really cool to be involved in that role. You know, it's definitely not like family-friendly role. It's kind of spooky, but yeah, I'd say Hook is actually a victim mainly. So yeah, it was really interesting to bring that aspect to it.
Have you seen the film yet?
No, this is my first time.
Are you nervous about seeing yourself on the screen?
No, I can't wait. I had so much makeup on, I'm not even going to recognise myself.
Obviously, you've been on RuPaul's in the past. What was that like, by the way?
A wild roller coaster ride, yeah, ups and downs and lots of high heels and lots of super glued on earrings.
I know they're currently filming the new series. What advice would you give to any of the new contestants?
Take it easy, enjoy it, and play the role that you're given, like live up to the cameras, you're making TV, you know? I think I took myself a little bit too seriously, and I wish I'd been a bit more free with it, so that would be my advice.
And obviously this month we did lose the Vivian, absolutely devastating. What fond memories do you have of the Vivian?
Oh my God, it's hard to pull out a single memory, to be honest. Every single time I had any encounter with her, she was the most respectful, most loving, hilarious person, and it was just an honor to see her on a lineup with me ever. To be honest, I knew it was going to be a great show, and it's a massive, massive loss to not only the community but the whole world. I don't know what else there is to say about it. It's heartbreaking.
So what drew you to this script?
Are you kidding me? I mean, this is like a legendary character. No, seriously, the script wasn't just like an ordinary Peter Pan script. I mean, I think they totally flipped like the story on its head, really gave this darker element to Peter Pan, which I think has always kind of existed, you know. It is an inherently dark story about a kid that flies to other children's windows and, you know, takes children off to a magical place and kills adults. You know, it's a very dark story, and I think, you know, Scott and Rhys have done a great job kind of turning it on its head, and this Psycho Pan was just such a layered character, so I kind of really enjoyed reading about that and getting my teeth into the psychology of this guy.
Was Peter Pan ever a favourite of yours in the Disney kind of world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I had several Disney favourites, you know, but Peter Pan was always kind of like one of those magical characters. I mean, every child wanted to be Peter Pan, right? To live without consequence, you know, not listen to your parents and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, it's good.
So since Winnie the Pooh came out as well, the Blood and Honey, obviously it seems to be expanding more. I know this is part of the Puniverse, but what do you think of other people against it who love Disney films so much?
Sorry.
What's your thoughts on other people who are like, why are you changing the Disney fairy tale lifestyle into like a horror?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So firstly, Disney did a great adaptation of the original writings. For example, with Peter Pan was originally written by J.M. Barrie as a play, and then that play can be interpreted so many different ways within those writings, and Disney took that and turned it into a very lovable childhood cartoon, whereas we've taken the writings and turned it on its head into a horror. So, you know, I think there's a lot of, you know, great directors out there that said that there's a lot of stories that have already been told, but if you want to tell it in your way, then do that. It's just good cinema.
How did you become a part of this project?
So I had an audition come through, and it was we actually had to do a scene from another horror film, and I just went for it. And then a few days later, got casted as soon as that, and me and Scott honestly just clicked like that. I mean, we just thought so alike, yeah.
So I've heard there's a big fight scene between Wendy and Peter. Is this true, and what was that like?
I mean, yes, there's a few fight scenes. I mean, she's fighting for her brother. I think Wendy goes into fight or flight. She goes into like, you know, very like, you know, wild mama vibes. Like she wants to protect her little cub. And yeah, she'll do anything to save Michael, yeah.
So what would you say was the most goriest day to film this? What was it like being on set for that?
I think Kate said the same thing. There's this scene where we're both lying on the floor. Poor Tinkerbell's been through the wars, and we were both covered in blood and gore and dirt, and it was a big mixture. And yeah, it's towards the end, and I think we were very tired, and yeah, it was a mixture of things. So it's the end scene, of course it is, yeah.
And what was it like working with Charity Kase as well?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I mean, I actually chose not to look at her until the scream. So I was avoiding eye contact because I didn't want to see Hook until that big moment of reveal. So I was trying not to stare, and then when that moment comes, I'm honestly petrified.
And what was your favourite day on the set?
Ooh, I'd have to say probably when a character's father comes and tells us a story that happened to a boy. I don't want to spoil it or anything. That happens to a boy in the film, and me and my brother, and we sit there with Wendy, and we just hear the story, and it's just so sad and just so emotional. It was great on set that day.
Did it feel slightly weird, like twisting this Peter Pan, obviously, because I'm assuming you've seen the first one, haven't you? So, not the original.
Definitely. And like I said, it's probably one of the best things about it, just how a classic can be turned into such a scary story and so like terrifying. Something for kids can be just so twisted. So yeah, it did seem weird, but it's really fun. It's so fun.
Before you had your first day on set, or even during filming, did you watch the original whilst just as a refresh?
Not really. I tried to stray away from it because I didn't want to add any aspects from the original into what we were doing, but I definitely know the story for sure, so yeah, not as much. Yeah.
For someone who has seen it, what is your thoughts on it? Is it quite gory?
Yeah, super gory, and it had the story factor in it, which I also really loved. So yeah, it had the story factor, and just to see everything, and I'm super excited to see the end scene as well. The end scene is really cool, so yeah.
So as an actor, when you do watch the finished product, is it hard to concentrate on the film? Do you think have flashbacks to that day when you were filming?
Me personally, I can't see a film. I can't see myself act because I nitpick myself a lot, but with my family and all of the other feedback that I have, they say I did really well. So yeah, I don't really see it because I'm just closing my eyes all the time. But yeah, from feedback and stuff, it seems really cool. Yeah.
So how did you get involved in this?
Sorry?
How did you get involved in this project?
I originally did a film called The Pope Exorcist with Russell Crowe, and then after that film, that's when Scott and Rhys reached out to me and they asked me to play young Winnie the Pooh in Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. So that's how it started, and then when I was on set I met Scott, and that's when he offered me the role for Peter Pan. Yeah.
What was it like working with Russell Crowe on The Pope Exorcist?
Oh my god, he's super nice. At the time, obviously because I was a kid, I was just thinking about acting. It was my first acting role, but to just have another really nice co-star, it's just always amazing as well. And he's just super nice as well. Really nice.
So what drew you to this script, and why did you want to become a part of this project?
I was just excited by Scott's vision for this character, to be really honest, and he talked to me about what he wanted to achieve and said he wanted us to do it together and kind of, shape it a little bit together, and I felt I could bring something to the role, and I just thought it was really great, and I still think that, and I love the reaction that there's been already to the character especially.
So with Tinkerbell, actually in the original Disney film, Tinkerbell, there's a slight sinister moment with Tinkerbell. How sinister is Tinkerbell going to be in this?
Tinkerbell's quite ambiguous for quite a long time, and you're not really sure what's going on with her, and you often see her from the children's perspective, so obviously she's a bit frightening, but then we get all of her story, and she's not really frightening at all, but that was delicious to play with. She's not straightforward, she's had a complicated life, so there was quite a lot to play with.
So obviously in the original as well, Tinkerbell leaves a lot of gold dust everywhere. Are you going to be leaving gold dust or blood?
Well, there's pixie dust in this, which people will have to see the film to find out exactly what that is. Oh no, that's been talked about a lot. But I think, yeah, you're right. Tinkerbell was always a bit naughty, wasn't she? And has a little edge to her, and she still does in this. Yeah.
So you're obviously directing Bambi as well. What can we expect from Bambi, and how are you going to turn it on its head?
It's Jurassic Park with a deer. It's so much fun. It's like R-rated shenanigans, with this giant killer deer, but it also has a heart as well. Some of the test audiences for Bambi genuinely were crying, and that's what we wanted from that one as well, which is, I think, quite nice and special that film offers that's different to the others as well.
Are we going to expect camp from that, or are we going to expect darker?
Definitely, no, it's definitely a straighter film, but there's some really nice comedic moments in there. So there's some dark humour, I would say, in Bambi. So some real nice comical beats in a way that I really enjoy. So it's played quite straight, but then there's some I think laugh out loud moments, even from Bambi. It knows when to not take itself too seriously, is what I would say.
When it comes to the prosthetics, how do you make that come to life?
Well, once you get the script and you break everything down, you have to break down as to the characters. So Martin, who plays Peter Pan, he goes through about 20 days of prosthetics. So you have to make enough pieces for each day of filming. And then obviously the killings, you work out that with the director, Scott, and you just kind of just break it down how the easiest way, at least time-consuming way of doing it, and just make sure it all works on the set.
When you guys do it as well, does it get gory for you guys? Do you get any fake blood or anything like that on you guys?
All the time.
Yeah,
we're covered in blood all the time.
Yeah, it's very rare you see us a little bit more dressed up as we are now.
It's just normal though, isn't it?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere on our shoes, all over. Yeah.
What was your the most goriest day on set?
I really enjoyed all the kitchen scenes. So we had an amazing set dressing in this kitchen by the art department, Bridge and Jamie and those guys. And honestly, it just looked amazing. We had like cool green light beams coming in and just crazy amounts of gore. And a big fight sequence happens in there. So it's really, really fun.
So, casting yourself back to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, were you expecting the reaction and how viral it went when you first started this?
No, never. I mean, we made Winnie 1 in like 8 days for like 20 grand, tiny crew, and it was just a straight to DVD film. It was never meant to be anything people were actually going to watch, you know? And then when it went viral, we're like, fuck, everyone's going to see this film. And it was amazing. You know, the film blew up. Maybe we could do Winnie 2, maybe we could do this. And it's opened doors to make more horror movies and make things that we love to shoot and things we want to show people. So yeah.
It's crazy because over the last, maybe since then, I've interviewed quite a lot of people from this Puniverse world. And I remember when it first came out, seeing like my favourite American TikTokers talking about it. And I find, even for me, I'm like, this is crazy. What do you reckon, when it comes to scare factor, 1 to 10, we're going to get from this Peter Pan story?
For me, it's not so much about being scary, like jump scares. It's more just like really dark, unnerving backstories and stuff like that. So something that this film goes into a lot is kind of like, why is Peter Pan the way he is? And you kind of find out it's through like how his mother and how he was raised and stuff like that. And for me, that's really like really dark and horrible to think about, but not necessarily scary. You know what I mean? It's just dark. Yeah.
So when you, obviously, as a composer, how do you do that? Are you in a post-production house? Are you watching the film and you're like, right, I need to put the music in this section? Well, how does it all work?
Millions of different ways, but usually the director, so in this case Scott, would say, this scene here, I need, like, it'll be emotions, feelings, tensions, and then we'll aim for places like this. When this happens, and you go in and you hone it, keep twisting, until you get it. It's a collaborative and a very sort of malleable process.
Do you have the film on the back in the background as well?
Yeah, but obviously there's no sound because you end up wiping off things like speech and things like that. So I haven't heard it all together yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it sounds.